Hello, 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 my angels and Reiki rebels. How are we doing after the eclipse yesterday? Today I'm going to share some channeled messages. I'll pull a few oracle cards and we will recharge and restore your energy levels. I know that eclipse felt destabilizing for many of us. It did for me as well. So we're really going to focus on replenishing and restoring today. And as you can see, I am in a new location. Feel free to drop your guesses as to where I am in the comments. I'm very happy to be here. And I'm feeling that I want to transmit the nervous system resonance and stability that I am feeling here, the calmness that I am feeling here. So I'll be sharing a bit more about that in videos to come, and you can look forward to that. But for now, we're going to share some of those channeled messages that came through. And if you're new to my channel, I'm Kimia. I am a writer, Reiki master practitioner, and what I like to call an intuitive creativity guide. I help magical creatives, witchy weirdos, rebel dreamers, and sensitive souls reclaim their voice, vision, and energetic sovereignty so that we can heal, grow, and way show in the ways that we're meant to help disrupt the status quo of extractive systems and structures of harm. So I wanted to start with those channeled messages because one phrase in particular is what I woke up experiencing today after feeling like I was in a dream state for the last 3 days, but especially yesterday with that blood moon Pisces lunar eclipse. And that phrase that I woke up with playing in my head on a loop, it's been on a loop since then, is muddying the pool. So what do I mean by muddying the pool? What does that mean, especially right now? The way that I'm interpreting it and the way that I am intuitively feeling this collective, and if you are watching this right now, you are a part of that collective, how you're meant to receive it, or how I feel that you're meant to receive it. Of course, I always say take what resonates and leave what doesn't. But I feel like there comes a certain point on our creative and spiritual path when there's a need to take all that we have learned and turn inward with it and make sure that we are turning the volume up on our own inner voice and our intuition. And sometimes when we get so wrapped up in taking in other people's advice or insight, or perhaps we're watching a lot of YouTube videos of spiritual teachers and conscious leaders talking about what's going on in the world and how just how and why certain things are happening the way that they are and unfolding in the way that they are, and where we're going as humanity in this chaotic world, tumultuous world, in this wild time that it is to be alive. Sometimes when we get so wrapped up in looking for the answers outside of ourselves, and I realize the irony of saying this in a YouTube video and as someone who considers herself a spiritual teacher as well and is a healing practitioner. And, like I said, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. But there's this need to not muddy the pool of our own creative channel, of our own spiritual compass, our own inner compass leading us on our own spiritual path. And even when we're listening to the subliminals and rewiring our subconscious, these are all things that I have done myself. But there comes a point when we really have to learn to differentiate between what is needed and what is just kind of creating static or interference, keeping us from listening to that inner gnosis that we all have. So I'm going to pull a few oracle cards for us. And yeah, I was just really hearing that when we are so concerned with other people's opinions, when we are needing others' advice or insight, we are outsourcing our power to something outside of ourselves. And often, I mean, we're pretty much taught to do that in so many ways as human beings. And I think this also speaks to the fact that there is such a need for discernment at this time. I mean, there always has been, but especially now, really deciding for yourself, even when you're, I mean, especially when you're scrolling social media, like, is this information for me? What is this person getting out of sharing this information? Is there, could there be underlying reasons that they are sharing this information? I'm really not into the doom scroll, fear-mongering content that unfortunately gets a lot of engagement and gets a lot of likes and views. And that's just not the way that I want to operate in the world. That's really, I'm against the spiritual creators, especially around eclipse season, the way that they fearmonger eclipses and say things like, I can't manifest during eclipses, or don't look at the eclipse or something bad is going to happen to you, creating all these rules, creating all this lens of, honestly, I feel that a lot of it is handed down from religious trauma, and I've talked about it on this channel before. We won't go there fully right now. But I mean, that way of being in the world is also a trauma response, right? So we want to be really careful about the information that we're taking in and the energy that we're absorbing. We want to be observing and not absorbing. And we have, so we have Queen of the North. Sounds like Game of Thrones. If you know, you know. And this card says autonomy, resilience, and underworld, which I think is so appropriate for the shift from summer into spooky season. For many of us, I mean, I know that it's still technically summer in much of the world in September, but I feel like it's like August 31st to September 1st is like instantaneous spooky season shift. At least for me personally, I love spooky season. But no, it's still technically summer. But we are beginning our descent into the underworld. And really with eclipse season, it is a sort of underworld of its own. It's an underworld undertaking. It's a chthonic journey that we where we are able to really delve into shadow aspects of ourselves that rise up to be met, right? So that's why it feels so destabilizing a lot of the time, because sometimes it can feel like we've already met those parts of ourselves, so why are they still rising back up? Like, I've already learned this lesson, why is it coming back up again? And or we might be completely hit out of nowhere and there was a blind spot that was really this unconscious part of ourselves that we really didn't realize we were operating from. So this card really speaks to the need for resilience. And I was feeling that resilience. I love that this is coming up because it's confirmation from spirit. I really was feeling that resilience is a theme for this collective, and for so many of us, that we just need to hold the faith that the world that we are dreaming of is possible. The world that we want to build is already being planted, is already here in some ways. And so much of the forces of, I don't like to say darkness because I really don't like to conflate darkness with evil, so I'll say negative, malevolent, and yes, evil. The forces of evil that are at play on the world stage are in many ways fomented by unprocessed trauma they are part of the unresolved shadow of humanity, right? And when each and every one of us meets those shadowy parts of ourselves with more autonomy and acts with resilience, we're helping to heal the war energy that is at play on the world stage. Because as within, so without. I'm going to pull one more card. This one popped out. The Clever Guide. Curious, playful, and spirited. The fox. I love foxes. I saw one. One crossed my path when I was in Finland, and I was just blown away. I've never seen one in the flesh like that, so close to me. So when we combine the Clever Guide with the Queen of the North, this really tells me that this is your inner guidance, right? And then this is also how it can manifest in a playful way. And how there really are signs and guides all around us in the world, in our experience, in our lens of viewing things. We really just have to shift the way that we look at things sometimes to realize what is already there for us. I'm thinking of this specifically in terms of abundance. When we realize and are grateful for how we are already experiencing abundance in our lives, and we are able to receive more of it. But I really am seeing these as, when we're not muddying the pool, right? When we are following our inner compass, our autonomy, and holding fast, holding the faith, cultivating our resilience, more clever guides show up for us. Or we're able to see the guidance of spirit with more cleverness, right? So with the cleverness of the fox. Okay, I'll pull one more card. Ooh, okay. Tree of Vitality. So this is the birch tree. It says protection, fertility, and renewal. So the renewal is coming. The blessings are coming. The fertility is coming. And that can be read in more ways than one, right? Fertility can also be fertility of creativity. Fertility can be bringing in new ways of being into your lived experience, right? It doesn't just have to be the fertility of, maybe some of you are looking for fertility in that way of wanting to have a child or bring some new, maybe a new pet into your life. So it can also be read that way too, of course, but I'm really, I'm sensing it as new creative projects and new ways of bringing money and abundance into your world, new blessings. Like I'm hearing the word privilege. So really like accessing what you are already privileged to be experiencing, right? Remembering that in so many ways, we are very privileged to have a roof over our heads, to be able to travel, to be able to have things to look forward to and get excited about, right? To experience spirit in magical and wonderful ways all around us, in our everyday lives. Like the way that I saw the fox, that is privilege to me. That is, yeah, and protection too, knowing that I am protected by spirit and that it will show me the ways that it's protecting me and moving me along my path, moving me in the right direction, even when sometimes less than ideal things come up because of the eclipses or because of what may be playing out on a cosmic level, the way that astrology has been kind of beating all of our asses collectively in 2025, the way this 9-year has been really heralding so much release and transformation. And sometimes it's like, how much more can we possibly have to release? But there's always something, right? There's always something. Okay, so let me know what you think about those messages and those cards in the comments. I would love to hear. And we're just going to share some Reiki. And infusing you with revitalized energy. With restored vitality. And removing anything unwanted or misaligned from your aura. Allowing what is meant to come up, not judging, simply observing. And letting it pass, letting me pluck it out. Pluck, pluck, pluck. You see the pup? Ginny. So sending this directly to the throat chakra, clearing out anything standing in the way of you speaking your truth, anything muddying the pool of your creative channel, of your inner guidance, anything messing with your inner compass, keeping it from pointing straight and true in the direction of your most elevated alignment. Sending you so much love, gratitude, and deep belly breaths.